technology is always progressing. So we're always looking for the new and the best way to do things. And yun talaga yung trabaho ng computer scientist. Parang how to best use the limited computing resources to solve problems. So yeah, don't be intimidated. Think of it as like as a journey. Kasi parang if you learn something new every day, parang mapapatingin ka na lang na 1 year ago, wow, ang dami ko na palang natunan. And that's really what motivates me that's motivates me to keep learning. So anyway, without further ado, pag-usapan muna natin yung agenda ng lecture na to. So i-divide ko yung ito into two parts. Parang yung what is C++ and how to C++. Yung how to na part, medyo mabilis lang yan. Pero yung what is, yun yung bulk ng lecture ngayon. I know it sounds boring. Honestly, kung ako nakikinig, it kind of sounds boring kung mag-pa what is muna tayo bago yung how to. Pero super critical yung introductory knowledge na to para malaman natin kung ano yung capabilities and limitations ng language mismo so that we can more effectively use it. So, doon na lang tayo sa huli, pupunta sa syntax and data types. Kung may time pa, pwede ko naman siya iusog into another lecture. It's fine. For now, doon muna tayo sa what. So, parang dito natin pag-uusapan yung mga buzzwords surrounding C++. Parang how is C++ even designed? Sino nagkasabi kung ano yung pwedeng ilagay sa language and so on and so forth. Tapos, nandun din yung ano ba yung ginagawa ng compiler? Parang what exactly is compilation? Parang why is this important? Tapos finally, pag-uusapin din natin yung use cases ng language. Bakit ba natin kailangan ng C++? Kung meron namang Python, kung meron namang insert programming language here. And then sa how-to, papasok na yung syntax nga dyan. I think naabot lang tayo sa variables and functions. I don't intend on expanding more on that. Tapos, in a future lecture, doon na tayo sa oops. Kasi that deserves a lecture on its own. So, do we have any questions so far? Or, I actually check ko nga yung chat. Baka ang dami ko nang na-miss. Ang dami kong sinabi. Okay. Bakit ang video ni Westy? Yes, computer ako. Nandito pa ba si Miko? Oh nga no. Yay! Nandito siya. Perfect. Alright. Wala namang questions, no? Pwede na tayo mag-move on. Wait lang, naman tubig. Alright. Sige. So, before we go to the first section, let's discuss why I'm discussing C++ and not C. I think daming may duda doon actually. So, bakit nga ba C++? Kasi, to be honest, C is ugly, unsafe, and old school. Like, that's facts only. Facts lang yan. Parang yung C++ best practices are actually in response to things that you can do in C. So parang modern C++ was made so that you don't have to do the C things. Di ba yung ganun? That's why tinuturo ko yung C++ para pwede natin i-apply yung philosophy ng C++ onto C so that we don't have to worry about weird memory stuff. And we'll go into that next time, pero yun lang yung point. And yung extra features nga, simply aim to improve C. Kaya nga plus, parang +1 version, di ba? Parang ganun. So basically, C++ is C, but better. So, yeah. Di ba? Kung babalikan natin yung CS30, 30 ba yun? Yeah. If you know C++, then you know C. In other words, C++ is sufficient for learning C. Di ba? Parang CS30 lang. Dapit ah. So ngayon, by starting with C++, you will be better equipped to tackle the flaws of C, which is great, di ba? Great. Sa simula pa lang, tuturuan ko na yung best practices so that pagdating mo sa C, magugulat ka na lang na, wait, bakit ganito sa C? At hindi, tapos biglang mo pa, kaya walang ganun sa C++ kasi hindi siya safe. Yung ganun, mapagdating lang kayo. So yeah, with that said, we can now move on to the first section, which is yung what is C++? Okay, it is important to know that the goals of C++, it is better to know yung goals ng C++ is more often than not just an improvement over C. Tapos parang if you understand it in that context, may realize mo kung ano yung relationship niya with C. So let's go back for a little bit of history. Yung C++ actually started as C with classes. Kasi walang classes sa C eh. Parang siyang Python actually. Imagine mo yung Python. Kasi diba kapag gagawa tayo ng class sa Python, kailangan may self na explicit na ilalagay natin doon. Parang ganun lang sa C. There's no such thing as yung object-oriented stuff in the truest sense. Pero that's how you emulate it. Parang ganun sa C. Lahat, they're just functions. Tapos kung gusto mo mag-object-oriented, ima-manual mong yung self. Ipapasok mo siya doon. Pero yeah, yun lang siya. As time went on though, yung C++, medyo lumaki siya. Hindi na siya naging extension lang. Lumaki na yung standard library niya. And eventually, nag-run na tayo ng modern C++. And usually, when you Google it, ito yung mga makikita mong mga buzzwords around it. Object-oriented, procedural, and so on and so forth. So, hindi ka na kailangan explain yung first kasi medyo familiar na kayo doon. Pero yung second one, explain ko lang yan. Yung procedural type of language, kailangan mong sabihin na step by step yung instructions mo. So, kunwari, this is an example of C++ code. Don't mind the syntax for now. Pero yung sinasabi niya lang yan is, kunin mo yung string, parse mo, create element, do this, do that, then do this, if this, then that. Parang tuloy-tuloy yan forever. And yung point lang dyan is, procedural is literally procedural. You tell every single step. Whereas kapag declarative, let's say HTML, you're not really describing how to do things, pero sinasabi mo lang na eto siya, eto dapat yung mukha niya. Parang we don't have to worry about the procedure as long as eto yung makikita ko. Parang yun yung declarative, you just declare it, yung ganun. Parang ginamit ko lang yung word, pero basically yun yung point niya. And that's not how C++ works. Dapat i-explain mo lahat ng steps. Parang sa Python lang. Pero mas malapit kasi sa C++, hindi maganda yung standard library eh. Pero, well, it's better actually. It's better through the years. So, yeah. Yung next naman na buzzword natin is compiled language. Basically, sinasabi lang yan, lahat ng source code isasuksak sa compiler, and then kapag nasa compiler na siya, magbibigay siya ng executable code. Na this is very different from how we do it in Python. Kasi yung Python, kuna mo yung i-install mo yung Python sa system mo, tapos bibigyan mo siya ng file, and it's going to run it line by line, more or less, it's gonna run it line by line. Tapos yun yung interpreter. Kung babalikan natin yung CS11, yun yung sinasabi ni Sir Z na interpreter. Sa C++, you give it all of the source code beforehand, like everything. Tapon mo yan. Tapos, babasahin niya yun, tapos i-optimize niya yun, pwede niyang baliktad lahat ng statements or whatever as long as it's faster. And it results in a very fast executable file. Hindi siya tulad sa Python na kapag binigay mo siya ng file, i-run niya ulit-ulit yung line by line na yun. Here, you compile the program, tapos automatic na yun, executable na siya. No need for Python or anything, just run it. So, may benefits yan. Most errors are detected at compile time. So kung may syntax error ka, your code will not literally compile. So you can't even have an executable for it. Pero it can also be frustrating kasi minsan may mga times na gusto mo lang mag-run yung code pero hindi mo siya ma-run kasi hindi mo alam kung ano yung compiler error na yun. But sakit lang yun sa C++ honestly, pero you can get through it. So yeah, as I said earlier, hindi na tulad sa Python na interpreted siya. Though I must note, this is not exactly true. Python does compile into bytecode, and then yung bytecode na yun, the interpreter will use so that it doesn't have to go line by line again. Pero for all intents and purposes, let's just say na hindi siya tulad ng Python. So, any questions about that for now? Wait, alam mo, balikan ko nga yung channel. But ang daming daming message. Man, kailangan back-read. Ay hala, nagkaka-trouble sa audio. Oh no. Box pa naman kayo dyan, no? Okay. Good naman, good to hear. Alright, so Wow, ang dami na pala. Welcome people, welcome. Sige. Saan tayo nag-stop? Python, no? Python. Sige. There. So next, the buzzword natin is system level. Kaya siya system level because it directly interacts with the OS and hardware. Given that, it's definitely more powerful with more integrations. So parang hindi ka na limited sa standard library. So kung kanwari walang print function, okay lang yun kasi tatawagin mo na lang yung operating system mismo. Sabihin mo, Windows or kung Mac user ka, Mac, print this, print this. Hindi mo na kailangang sabihin yun through the Python standard library or whatever. So, may problema din yun. It's very error prone and crash prone kung hindi ka careful. Pero that's really what it's all about. If you want that level of power, kailangan mo talagang mag-dig into the, I don't know what the term is, machinery? Parang ganun. Okay. Yung next naman is, wala siyang garbage collection. What does this mean? Kasi ang tawag dito, in Python, for example, yung di na natin kailangan isipin yung memory. Pero in C++, we have to do manual memory management. Basically, every byte allocated must be deallocated. Parang we have to carefully think about that. Otherwise, syempre, kung hindi natin in-account yan, memory leaks and performance inefficiencies will occur. So, kung kanwari, nakalimutan mo i-delete yung list mo dyan, list of 100 elements, forever na siyang nandyan, yung 100 elements na yan. And that's bad. That's really bad. Kung forever na nakabukas yung computer mo, kanwari, forever na siyang nandyan. Of course, kung nag-deallocate ka naman ng sobra, posible kang gumamit ng memory na hindi sa'yo. So, actually, this next bullet, we must be careful with the memory we access and modify. Kasi kung kanwari, most viruses actually take advantage of this, or most security vulnerabilities. Kung kanwari yung meron kang buffer for text, tapos biglang yung memory na binasa mo sumagad lang doon, tapos yung memory na yun happens to be a password, that's a bad thing. So dapat i-control natin kung saan lang yung memory na pwedeng gamitin. So as mentioned earlier, this is unlike in higher level languages like Python and JavaScript, where yung deletion is actually managed by the interpreter or the runtime. Parang we don't really think about it. Kung may list tayo, yung Python na yung bahala doon. In C++, we have to think about it. We have to think about it carefully. Even more so in C, actually. So, yeah. Questions so far about that? Kasi yun na yung last yata. Tapos next section na. Ay, wala pa naman yata na. Cool. Alright. So, ano nga ba yung ibig kong sabihin kapag sabi kong modern C++, quote-unquote? So, as most things in life, programming languages develop over time as well. So, yung best practices noon, hindi na siya best practices ngayon. That's why we have new versions of C++. New versions of a C++ standard going every 3 years na yata. Dati kasi infrequent siya, pero ngayon every 3 years. Pero we'll go into that later. Yung first standard actually was 1998, nung sila ni Bjorn Strostrup pa yun. It was actually a decade after he first conceived of C with classes. Parang imagine mo, 10 years siya bago naging ISO standard yung C++. Oh yeah, nga pala, hindi ko na-mention yun. C++ is actually an ISO standard. Hindi siya like something designed by Microsoft or something like that. It's an open standard everyone can use. Kaya siya sobrang popular. So, okay. So, of course, yung scope ng lecture na to would be modern practices, no? Hindi na tayo mag-C++ 1999 and stuff. Kasi sobrang unrecognizable na ng mga 1999 code bases compared to today. So yeah. Ano tawag dito? Oh yeah, okay. So of course, since modern na yung pag-uusapan natin, pati yung modern practices na yun, we want to apply them to C. Kahit old language yung C. Technically that's wrong kasi yung C may bagong updates na rin 2017 yata yung most recent one. I'm not sure. Basta yun. Kasi hindi ibig sabihin na ugly yung C, magiging ugly na rin yung code natin. So, we might as well just use modern practices too. And, the reason why you would want to learn multiple ones in the first place is para makuha mo yung best aspects of one language to this language. And then you apply this pattern to this pattern. And, eventually you end up with like a core foundational core foundational principles on how you want to program. So kung kanwari gustong-gusto mo yung Python iterators like I do, pipilitin mo talaga na isuksok yun sa C++ or sa C. Which you can actually. There's such thing as an iterator in C++, pero it's far less usable than in Python. Pero it's possible. So yeah. Anyway, discuss na natin kung ano nga ba yung ISO standard na yan. So recall natin, yung ISO is the International Organization of Standardization. I think that's yung ISO is supposed to be French or something other language than that. Don't take my word for that. Hindi ko siya na Wikipedia pa. Pero it's a different language, kaya siya ISO instead of iOS. So yeah, siya yung nagsasabi ng mga global standards for anything. They even have like a standard for how to make tea. It's kind of funny, pero may ganun talaga. So yeah, ito yung sinabi ko kanina, 98 yata yung first version niya. And the years after that, nagkaroon siya ng revisions. And yung pag-uusapan natin is C++ 17 kasi siya parang pinaka de facto modern C++. Like, pero yung C++ 20, which was just released nung December, I think. Yeah, December. Yun yung parang super, it's like a new language already. Parang ganun. It's a new thing. Parang, wala pa siyang masyadong support. So we're not gonna talk about it for now. Most likely, magkakaroon lang siya ng widespread support kapag nag-graduate na tayo. So, we're stuck with C++ 17 for now. So, yeah. Ano tawag dito? Yung versions niya, we have like the 2003, nung 11, nung 14, 17, and 20. Kung blank lang yung parenthesis dyan, it just means puro bug fixes lang siya, more or less. So, yeah. I think that's the end of this section. Yung next na natin is compilation. So, check. Ma-backread lang. Naging podcast yun. Okay lang yan. Oo nga, no, weird na di man lang nagturo ng pep rates na. Well, yeah.
Doon din, makikita.
Ba't nga ba hindi na tinuro? Okay. Okay pa naman so far, no? Ay, oops. Mali na pindot ko. Oh, no. Alright. Sige. Let's move on to compilation. Ito na yung medyo kailangan natin mag-isip. Ay, actually, wait. Before we move on, pakita ko lang sa inyo yung C++ standard. Quickly lang. We're not gonna read it because it's so heavy. It's so heavy on notation na you don't even want to read it. Kasi nga ba yung controls ko? This one. There we go. Chanan! So this is the C++ standard. Working draft yung kinuha ko, pero more or less this is it. Kung mapansin mo, this is the contents. Ito yung entire specification for the language itself. Parang sinasabi niya, ito yung syntax, ito yung character sets, ano yung pwede mong gamitin pang variables, keywords, literals, everything is here. 1,857 pages of C++. Kung gusto niyong basahin yan, be my guest, but I don't recommend it. Siguro gamitin mo lang to kapag kanwari naka-argument kayo, nag-argument kayo with your friend or something. Sabihin mo, well, sabi ng C++ standard, section 15.5, yung gagawin niya siya, sabihin mo, cite your sources. That's how you win your arguments in C++. Wow, ang daming pages nga. So yeah, kung mag-scroll through kayo dito, sobrang formal ng terminology. Which makes sense kasi it's a specification. It has to be explicit everywhere. And, oh man, pure definitions lang to Grabe. So, saan nga ba yun? Oh, look. Very conveniently, ito yung section na sinasabi ko na the compiler can reorder yung mga instructions just for optimizations. Kasi sabi daw, a well-formed program shall produce the same observable behavior. So, kung same behavior lang naman siya, okay lang na ilipat-lipat may instructions. So, as long as same yung observable behavior. So, yeah, explicit dito na sinasabi na pwede ka mag-optimize. Yun lang yun. So, yeah. Sana huwag kayong matakot dyan. Pero that's really what makes the world go round, this paper. Alright, balik tayo dito. Saan yung PowerPoint? There. Okay, C++ compilation. Inom lang ang tubig ah. Okay, first things first, recall lang natin yung concepts from CS11 na C++ is a middle-level language that parang yung compiler transforms C++ into assembly, and an assembly is turned into machine code na specific sa hardware mo lang. So, kung kanwari Windows ka or Linux yung kabila, mag-iiba yung instructions niyan na i-generate ng compiler. And even more fine-grained than that, kung x86 yung CPU mo, tapos ARM sa kabila, or kung gagamitin mo yung bagong CPU ng Apple, mag-iiba din yung i-generate yung code. So parang this is exactly why C++ is used everywhere kasi ang daming targets na pwedeng i-compile ng mga modern compilers. There's so many places they can go into. And then, yeah, parang super important ng compiler. Yun ang sinasabi ko. So ngayon, let's look into the world of the compiler. Ito yung typical hello world ng C++. Don't mind the syntax for now. Pag-uusapan natin. If you look here, ito yung hash include IO stream. Parang ito yung import sa Python. It's not exactly that, pero it's more or less that. So parang IO stream in this case, yun yung pangalan ng file na i-include natin. And then dito sa baba, int main, yan yung tinatawag na main function. Yan yung entry point ng program. Kasi kapag ni-run mo yung program, paano malalaman kung saan siya nagsimula? E di i-define mo yung main, di ba? Yun lang yung rational dun. And then everything from here branches out. So parang tatawag ka na ng functions to here, and then this one and this one. And then this one here, yung std_cout na yan, that just stands for character output. I used to think it was C++ output, pero yun pala it's just character output. And then dito sa kabila, yan yung stud end line. It just stands for like yung \n, the literal \n, pero with extra features. I'll not go into that for now. And then yung arrows na to, sinasabi lang yung kung saan mo isasuksok yung data. So parang you can read it from right to left. Parang isusuksok mo muna yung ito, this one. Tapos ilalagay mo siya dito. Tapos ilalagay mo siya dito. Parang ganun. Parang it's weird, but you know, that's what you can do. And ito yung stud na prefix na yan, parang siyang sa Python. Yan yung mga namespaces. That's a way to keep the code organized para hindi nakapollute yung global namespace. There's a way to remove yung prefix na to. Pero personally, mas gusto kong explicit kung sinasabi na std_cout, stud endline, para alam ko kung saan nanggagaling yung variables ko. Kasi kung sinulat ko lang cout tapos endline, then like saan galing yan? Like, hello? What's cout? Pero kapag sabi mong std_cout, parang mapa, oh, it's the standard cout. Medyo subtle, pero you'll actually, tawag dito, you'll actually be thankful na yun yung ginagawa mo instead of the shortcut. And then, yeah, that's the entire hello world ng C++. Do we have any questions? What's that? Okay ka pa dyan, Ellis? Okay, great. Okay, so now let's look at it from the perspective of a compiler. Kasi na-describe ko kanina na kung ano yung trabaho niya. So, ano nga ba talaga yung trabaho niya? So, ito yung 5 stages of compilation. This is not the exact terminology, pero more or less, it's the same thing. So, the first step is pre-processing. Medyo tricky ito. It's just basically going to expand macros. We'll discuss that later, pero basically, there are certain syntax in C++ that allows you to expand into bigger code. Parang automatic code generation or something like that. So yun yung pre-processing basically. And kapag na-expand na lahat, yun na yung syntax and grammar parsing kasi na-expand mo na lahat no? Kasi na yung macro tapos na. So parang dyan napapasok yung syntax errors, yung semicolons. Oh, hindi ko pala na-mention yun. Required yung semicolons sa C++. Hindi siya tulad sa Python. Yeah. So, look out for that lang. Sasabihin naman sa ng compiler yan eh. And then, kung na-parse niya na lahat, static analysis na, basically, sasabihin niya kung tugma ba yung mga data types mo, tugma ba to dito, or whatever. Parang, dito na papasok rin yung parang analysis kung yung isang constant variable ba, constant ba siya, or nabitate mo siya by accident, yung ganun. And, very useful yung step na to actually, kasi hindi to tulad sa Python, na kahit anong pwedeng isuksok mo sa function, tapos biglang magkaka-type error lang siya na unexpected. Sa C++, kapag mali yung data type, hindi siya mag-compile. So, patay ka dun, but it's a good thing kasi hindi mo na kailangan isipin yung type error. Oh no. So yeah, yung next step, optimization and translation. So parang nilipat-lipat mo lang yung code or not even nilipat, parang ini-inline mo siya. So kunwari, instead of calling a function, kakopy and paste mo na yung function mismo. So, basta ang daming mga optimizations yan na you don't really have to think about anymore. So parang if someone like tells you na mas mabilis yung way na to kaysa sa dito, medyo magduda kayo because the compiler will most likely optimize for that already. So the only way to know if a certain way is better than this or faster way than this is to actually benchmark. You have to profile the code. Mas mabilis nga ba talaga to over 100,000 elements or not? So that's the only way. Kasi when in doubt, the compiler will probably optimize it. So yeah. Finally, linking phase. This is really tricky, yung linking. Like this is the trickiest part of compilation. Basically, kukunin niya yung marami mong files and then it's gonna link them. It sounds easy, no? Pero it's actually very difficult. Kasi what C++ does is kakompile niya yung files mo individually across multiple threads, let's say. And then all of them are isolated from each other. So yung mga files na yun, wala silang kinalaman from each other. So kapag nag-compile sila, that's what you call a translation unit. And then from across those multiple translation units, kapag na-compile mo na lahat, dun mo lang sila i-link together. Tapos kapag nakalink na siya, nandun na yung executable. It's very long, pero nakuha naman ba yun? I feel like medyo tricky talaga yun. We'll look into that later naman. Don't worry. Yeah. So with that said, balikan na natin yung hello world natin. If you recall, that's the hello world. So first step natin, we have to expand the macros. And a macro, in this case, more often than not, starts with a hash, parang hashtag siya. More often than not, pero not always. Ang gagawin niya, i-expand niya yan. So ano nga ba talaga yung i-expand niya? Yung, oh no, I clicked something wrong. No. Yung i-expand niya actually is yung underlying file na nakastore sa compiler installation mo. So in this case, pakita ko lang sa inyo yung LLVM. I'm not sure if you guys know that actually. So ito yun. This is the LLVM project. It's basically C++ compiler, basically. Tapos nandito yung standard library nila. Tapos nandito yung include. And basically, dito yung IO stream. Saan nga ba yun? IO stream. You can tell, ang daming stuff na pwede mong import sa standard library. So ito yun, yung buong ito, this entire thing from top to bottom, kakopy niya yan, ipe-paste niya sa file, tapos hooray, that's the pre-processing step. Kung mapansin niyo, nandito si cout. Ayun o, cout. Tchanan! Perfect. Tapos mapansin mo, ang dami niyang hash whatever, hashtag this, hashtag that. I-expand pa yan. So, kung babalikan natin yung ano tawag dito? Kung babalikan natin yung slides, kapag in-expand nyo na, ito na siya, basically. Kung mapansin nyo actually, very important na mapansin nyo to, wala siyang definition. Sinabi niya lang, cout exists somewhere. Okay, that's really important to understand. It's not defining anything. It's not defining a function. It's not defining the body. Sinasabi niya lang na it exists somewhere. Not sure where, but somewhere. That's very important. Kung titingnan nyo rin, highlight ko lang kung saan galing yung std cout. Ayun siya. Tcharan! Okay. And of course, since may hash include ulit dito, then we kinda have to expand it again, unfortunately. Pero bahala na yung compiler dyan. And eventually we end up with this and that's like 1,000 lines of code or something. But the thing I want to show here is we have to be careful about the things we include kasi may overhead yan sa compilation time. Kung marami kang i-include, 1,000, 10,000 lines ang kailangan mong i-import. So yeah. Gets pa naman so far yun, no? Yung fact na declaration lang siya, wala siyang definition. Wait, let me drink water. Nakakatuyo pala ng lalamunan to. Okay. So yun, this is what you call a translation unit. Kapag na-expand na lahat, this is a translation unit. Notice na walang definition. So technically, butas yung translation unit na yun. Butas siya. So, pero that's okay. Kasi kapag marami kang files, pwede mo siyang i-compile into multiple translation units. Tapos mabilis na yung compiler. Pero ngayon, how do we define it? How do we put the definitions of how it actually works? Kasi for now, butas lang yung translation unit eh. Ano tawag dito? Doon na parang papasok yung linking phase, which we'll go to in a bit. Ito yun. Saan tawag dito? So magiging bytes yan. Yan yung translation unit. Imagine na lang bytes siya. Pero kapag tumulan na tayo sa linking phase, imagine nyo to. Ito yung CPP file natin. Tapos yung green na IO stream, ito yung pinakita kong file dun sa LLVM kanina. Ito yung declarations lang. Declarations only, not definitions. The definitions go here in a separate iostream.cpp. Actually, you know what? Let me look for it. Madali lang naman yata hanapin yun sa LLVM. So dun tayo sa libcxx, meaning C++, under the source, tapos under iostream.cpp. Ayun, exactly, it's this one. Tapos kung hanapin natin yung cout, yeah, we're not gonna read this, pero ito yung definition niya. Nandito lahat yun sa parang create a new thing here, do this, do that. We're not gonna read this. This is very low level stuff. Pero the point is, nandyan yung definitions niya. Okay, returning back to the slides. Yeah, ito yung hello world. Nandito yung IO stream. Ito yung definitions. So basically, first things first, hash include, copy and paste natin to 2 beses. Dito, tapos dito. Okay? Clear pa naman? Okay. So ngayon, kapag na-copy and paste na, yung translation unit na to, butas siya. Kasi wala siyang definition para sa cout. Pero, nung pinaste natin siya dito, ito yung definition nandito. Sinabi niya, how exactly do you print something to a screen? No? Nandyan yun. Pero, how in the world are they going to communicate with each other? And dyan papasok yung linker. So once na-compile na yung translation unit ni CPP, once na-compile na to, ililink niya so that yung declarations na to mag-match up sa definitions nito. And that's how it works. That's how they compile it. So ngayon, posibleng tinatanong nyo ngayon, bakit hindi na lang natin i-hash include yung CPP file? That's a valid question. I had that question too nung first time kong inaral yung C++. Bakit hindi na lang natin i-hash include yung CPP? Yung problem is, remember, when you hash include something, it's copied and pasted everywhere. Everywhere. So, if you copy and paste the same definition over and over again, magreklamo yung compiler. Sasabihin niya, multiple definitions. And that's not allowed. Parang dito pumapasok yung one definition rule. The compiler says that there should only be one definition for a function, for a class, for anything. One definition only. So the way we circumvent that is we only declare it, pero we only provide one definition, which is here. So basically, we can copy and paste the declarations wherever we want, like 1 million times. As long as isa lang yung definition, then it's completely fine. Is that clear? Kasi this was really tricky nung inaral ko to. Any questions? Sige, namdan ako ng tubig while waiting. Okay, sige. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it really was. Sige, let's speed through actually. Pwede natin speed through yung this part. So first step, saan nga ba yun? Yeah, first step, expand the macro, swing declarations only, no definitions, okay? No definitions. And then, eventually, you go here, you expand again, hanggang sa you end up with this. And then you have a translation unit. Tanan! That's only one translation unit na specific to that file. Pero butas siya kasi we don't really know what this means. Sinabi lang natin it exists somewhere. Parang it exists somewhere. Yung linker na bahala dyan. Yun ang sinasabi natin. Pero, once we have the translation unit, ito na yung trabaho ng linker. So kasi yung the compiler only looks at it per file, on a file per file basis. Pero the linker looks at the entire thing. Mas bigger picture siya. So, ayan. We copy and paste the declarations to both of them. And then, kapag na-establish na yun, we point to yung declarations nito, we point it to the definitions here. So, kung lumaki yan, kung lumawak na yung mga files mo, basically, weird network na siya. Pero, in the end, ma-preserve mo yung one definition rule. Because, again, you can copy and paste this wherever you go. Like, as many times as you want. So, yeah. So, sa linking part, yung parang import sa Python, mas accurately na yung import sa Python, parang ka-copy and paste mo na literal yung text. Like, literal copy and paste. Pero yung module resolution in Python, yun yung linker. I think if that makes sense. If that makes sense. So parang, let's say we want to import math yata yung pangalan ng module, or itertools. We can say, import itertools. Hahanapin niya yung file, ka-copy and paste na yung file, pero the resolution of the module itself, that's the linker. Parang siya yung maghahanap ng file na yun. And its definitions. Yes, exactly. Pero you know, yung ganitong, ano tawag dito, yung ganito ka in-depth on the compiler will actually save you from a lot of bugs. Not like really. Kapag may mga compiler errors, kasi sabi niya na unresolved symbol or undefined something, parang ma-realize mo, ito pala yung ibig niyang sabihin na ano tawag dito, hindi niya lang pala mahanap yung definition. Pero, actually, you know what? Sige. Do we have any other questions for that? Kasi kailangan clear talaga to before we move on. You know what? Sige, wait. Pwede ko nang ibalik siya sa slide nung 5 stages. Saan nga ba yun? 5 stages. This one. Yan. So parang pre-processing, yan yung expanding the macro. Basically yung hash include. And then you parse, then you analyze, optimize, and then you link. Link is the last step. Always the last step. Kasi you know, you kind of have to have translation units already. So ano ang pinagkaiba ni IOStream sa iostream.cpp? Yeah. Sige. I can show that with, balik tayo dun sa LLVM kasi very cool yung example na yun. So ito yung LLVM. Ito yung iostream.cpp. This is the exact file that gets imported. I joke lang, it's not the file. Yung file na naka-copy and paste is yung ito. Saan nga ba yun? Yung IO stream lang. Like, walang .cpp, .h, or whatever. Napin ko lang ulit IO stream. Yun. Ito yun. When we say hash include IO stream, ito yung ika-copy and paste niya. Everything here. Yan. Pero, yung cout na to, sinasabi niya, it exists somewhere, but I'm not gonna tell you what it does. Yun lang sinasabi niya. It exists somewhere. And then as far as the compiler is concerned, for that translation unit, okay na yun. Kahit butas yung compilation, okay lang yun. That's fine. Pero, pagdating na sa linker, ang sasabihin ng linker is, sige, sinabi mo na may ostream cout. Yan, sinabi mo may ganyan. So ngayon, yung linker, sasabihin niya, okay, hanapin natin yun. So balik tayo sa folder, tapos sasabihin niya, balik pa tayo sa folder, tapos hanapin niya sa source, sasabihin niya, iostream.cpp, tapos biglang sasabihin niya, cout, hanapin niya yung cout, tapos biglang, wow, how convenient, ito na pala yung definition ng cout. Yeah, basically yun. Yung CPP, nandun yung implementation, pero yung IOStream lang, nandun yung declarations. So kung mapansin mo, nandito rin yung actually, hash include ostream. I joke. Man, sige. It's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Pero yun yung point. Nandito yung definitions niya. Actually, pwede natin hanapin yung operator. What? It's not here? I joke kasi nasa ano siya. Anyway, I'll not go into that. Pero for now, yun lang yung point. Magkaiba yung declaration sa definition. Which actually will be seen when we do variables na. So yeah. Do we have other questions for that? Kasi maganda yung nagtatanong kayo. Kasi very tricky talaga yung concept na to. IO stream tells you that cout exists. Tapos once it knows that it exists, it tries to find the definition of cout. Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's it. Like, on the spot. That's it. Basta once compiled na sila, dun lang malalaman. Yes, kasi remember, the compiler is multi-threaded. So once you have like multiple translation units, parang you don't care what the other files are. You just care that you compile. So kahit butas pa yung compilation na yun, yung linker na yung bahala dun sa paghanap ng definition. Gets, no? Kasi puro declarations lang yung translation unit. Yeah, AC yun. AC talaga yun. Alam mo, sige, reacts tayo ng AC. Saan yung AC? That's perfect. That's the exact, alam mo, pwede nyo ipin yan. Ipin nyo yan. That's like, on the spot talaga yan. Ayun, thanks, Jelly. Pero yeah, clear na ba yun? Kasi I hope it was clear. Because I hope it was. Balik ko lang siya dito sa old screen. Yan. Sige. Drink water. Tapos kung wala ng questions, we move on to the next section, which is the fun part. Yun na yung crash course onto the syntax. Ito na yung last part ng compiler internals, which is the big boy topic. Okay. Cool naman so far, no? Are we good? Reacts lang ng... Meron ba tayong reacts ng ni CJ? Oo nga, meron. Tan. Perfect. Okay, sige. Let's move on na. Para pumasok tayo sa 5 p.m. C++ crash course. Before we begin, gusto ko lang i-preface na C++ is strictly typed. Like, super strictly typed. So what do I mean by this? Nakita niyo ba yung slides? Nakita niyo ba? Oh, yeah. Okay. Buti na lang. Sige. So what do I mean by this? Gamitin natin yung Python for example. Python is not strictly typed. It has dynamic typing. So let's say we assign world to hello, yung string na yan. So hello is a string. Pero in Python, no one's going to stop us from saying hello equals 69. Like, it's now a number. No one's gonna stop us from saying it's true. Parang kahit string siya, na ginawang number, na ginawang boolean, na gagawin nating array. Can you see the problem here? Na we can't be confident about our variables kasi anything can happen. So when you print it, malay mo kung anong mangyari dyan. In this case, it will be the last one, ito. Pero if this was like a big code base, di ba? Parang who knows what the variable does. Mas makikita niyo yung example na to sa dreaded ano tawag dito, functions. Let's say we have a function called add5. So we're just returning number plus 5. And then when you print it, 15. Cool. Pero, what if you put true? Diba? No one's stopping us. Yung output niyan would be 6, by the way. Kasi in Python, it converts a boolean na true as 1. Tapos false is 0. Which is already like very questionable in of itself. Pero for now, let's just accept it as it is. Pero no one's gonna stop us from doing this, which is a type error. And that's not good. Diba? Parang imagine mo kapag mission critical yung code na yun, tapos biglang mag-encounter kayo ng type error. Ah, man, mapagan kayo. That's bad news. Sa C++, walang ganyan. You have to explicitly declare ano ba yung data type nito. Tapos kung hindi tugma yung data types na yun, error na yung compilation. It won't work. Ano tawag dito? Okay, medyo marami ng message, so let me just back read. Okay, may some sort of strong typing din. Yeah, meron siyang strong, well, it's not strong, it's typing. Yun na. May types din sa Python na you can manually input. Yun yung ginagawa ko actually para mag-debug. Nilalagyan ko siya ng types. Pero that's a different discussion. That's a different discussion. String operations, yung plus and string. Ooh. Yeah, string plus int. Kasi ang daming mga ganon na nakikita natin dun sa CS12 channel, no? Na cannot add string to an integer, yung ganon. Kasi, obviously, you can't add an integer to a string. This is not JavaScript, di ba? Wait, asan yung mga? Okay. Yung point is, dapat tugma yung data types. That's how it is in the C world. I know na may ganitong syntax. Yes, may ganyan. If you want to correct it, type ko lang yung sa Python. So add 5, the correct way to do it right now in Python is to do this. Int return number plus 5. There. That's how you do it in Python para mas explicit mong sinasabi, integer lang pwede mong ipasok. Pero I believe i-run pa rin ng Python yan eh. Kasi hindi siya strictly typed. So kahit mali yung nilagay mo, warning lang ibibigay niya. I'm not sure if that's true for 3.9. But for version 3.10, I'm sure error na yan. I'm sure. No, I don't want to say I'm sure. Never mind. Sige, pero yun, that's a quick tip. Kasi kapag sa VS Code, papakita niya yan. Magkakaroon siya ng red squiggly lines. Integer is not a string. Diba yung ganun? Sasabihin niya yun. Which really saves a lot of time on debugging. Alright, so ngayon, of course, we're going to begin our lecture here with C++ data types. And ito yung fundamental data types ng C++. We have a boolean. Wait lang. Technically, a boolean is not even a data type. It used to be a type definition in C. Pero okay lang yan. For all intents and purposes, let's just say true. And then yung sa tabi niya, this column here, ito yung size in bytes. So parang a boolean is just 1 byte. It's either 0 or 1. Hindi siya 1 bit ha, it's 1 byte. It's 8 bits. And then similarly, a char is 1 byte. Yeah, 1 byte. And then an integer is 4 bytes, so 32-bit. And then a float is also 32 bits, pero may decimals. And then a double is double the float, which is 8 bytes. And then a pointer, which is like a memory address. Since it's like a memory address, It's literally just an integer. So it could be 4 or 8. Kung 32-bit system ka, 4 bytes lang siya. Kasi diba 32-bit. Pero kung 64-bit system ka, 8 bytes na siya. Which everyone is a 64-bit system nowadays. So, for now, let's just assume na 8 bytes ang size ng pointer. Tapos kung mapansin nyo, hexadecimal siya. That's only for stylistic, pero in reality, it's just a pure integer na it determines where in memory, where in the RAM are you pointing to. Cool naman, no? Cool. Sakit sa ulo naman. True yan, true. Masakit lang siya kasi wala siyang lifetime semantics. Pero that's for another day. That's for another day. Okay. Kung mapansin nyo, wala siyang array or string. Meron siyang char. Pero walang arrays and strings. Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya? So ito na, we're going into another rabbit hole kasi babalikan natin yung CS11. Okay. So arrays and strings in C++. In reality, a string is just an array of chars. Like char, this one. It's just an array of chars. So, let's say we have a string na CSBS and it has 5 characters. And then yung dulo na to, this is what you call a null character. May backslash siya kasi kailangan natin i-escape. Pero this is it. This is what you call a null character. Anyway, it just tells you where the end of the string is. In C, this is absolutely necessary. Okay? Cool naman so far, no? Na that's literally it. I joke. Oh no, I clicked something wrong. Okay. String. Okay, wait. Imported vector. Wait. Mamaya na yung vector. String equals array of chars. Clarify mo muna ano ang array since hindi clear kung ano ang array. Okay, sige, yeah. That's a good point. Sige. Yung array in C++ is literally a contiguous block of memory. So, saan nga ba yung ano ko? Ayun, okay. It's a contiguous block of memory. So, kung babalikan natin, ito siya. Kung may array of chars ka, tapos sinabi mo na may 5 elements siya, 5 elements na yan forever. Like, forever and ever. You cannot resize it, you cannot increase it, or whatever. May workaround yan, pero we'll explain that later. For now, an array cannot be resized. Yun yung array sa C or C++. Gets? Cool naman, no? So far, cool. Alright, sige. May explanation pa naman to later on, pero for now, let's move forward with this. Kapag, I joke, whoops, there we go. Okay, yung char, since the char is kind of just like an integer, no? We can just treat it as an integer, diba? It's like, it's an ASCII. Kinonvert lang natin siya into ASCII. And then, in reality, naka-expand yan as 0, 1, 0, whatever. Tapos yung 0, yan yung null. Diyan yung ending niya. Wait no. And then, hold up. Give me 1 minute lang. Alright. Nga ba ako nag-stop? Kalimutan ka na. Okay, wait. Check yung messages. Or it suddenly makes more sense. Ayun, yeah. For INV ko. True. Okay, so ito yun. It's basically ASCII. Na convert natin yung char into a number. So technically, to define an array, you look for the length. You look for the length. And then it's also defined by the first element, a pointer to the first element of the array. Okay, clear ba yun so far? That's how you define an array. Notice na this will never resize. You can't push or append or pop or whatever. Walang ganun. Kapag sinabi mong 5 elements na yan forever. Alright? So ngayon, this is the reason why we count from 0. Kasi if we define an array as the starting pointer and the length, then if you want to access text 0, you basically take the starting pointer and add 0. That's the 0th element. Diba? Yan, the 0th element. And if you want to take the first element, we take the starting pointer and say +1, then +2, and then +3. Notice that yung length is preventing us from going beyond it. Well, you can go beyond it, pero hindi na yan safe. So I don't recommend you do that. Pero, the world is your oyster. Gets naman yun so far? Okay, sige. Alright, so that's how you do a string in C. Take note of that kasi walang array sa C world. You have to create abstractions over it. Anyway, ito lang siya. If you lay it out in memory, magkatabi lang yan. Magkatabi yung mga integers na yan. And since, kung babalikan natin yung slide na to, saan nga ba yung slide na yan? Yan. Since yung char is only 1 byte long, we know to move the pointer by to move a pointer by 1 byte every time we increment. Kung kanwari int yan, then whenever we move this around, yung ganito, magiging +4 bytes siya, +8 bytes, or plus. Pero here in this case, since puro char lang siya, it's going to be +1, +2, +3. Pero kung integer siya, magiging +4, +8, +12. Gets? Meron bang -1 sa C++? Wala. Kasi kapag nag-1 ka, you're going beyond the bounds of the array. So you can imagine, -1 is memory you're not allowed to read. Malay mo, baka password to, di ba? You're not allowed to read that. So, as far as we're concerned, ito lang siya. You can create a function that wraps around it. Yung sabihin mo, get the -1 element, tapos bahala na siya dun. Pero you have to manually implement it yourself. Pwede, pero random values. Yes, pwede rin. Posible siyang random values, posible siyang password, or the point is, you don't know what's beyond there. Yun, you don't know what's beyond there. So we only have to work with what we have. So baka bigla magkaroon ka ng, yeah. Grabe yan. Alam mo, nakakatawa yan kasi ilang beses ko na na-encounter yung error na yan. Alright, sige. Text 1, text 2, text 3. So now we move on to yung integer types. Basically, ito siya. Maraming possible integers na pwede mong sabihin sa C++. Yung first one is yung char. That's just 1 byte. It's from -128 to 127. Yan lang yung maximum and minimum niya. It's 1 byte. Tapos yung short is 2 byte. Then int is 4 bytes. Tapos kung mapapansin nyo, kung mas maraming bytes siya, mas malawak yung range. So hindi ibig sabihin malaki yung integer, gagamitin nyo na siya parate. As much as possible, i-limit nyo kung ano yung integer na kailangan nyo. Kung hindi naman siya sasagad sa 100, or let's say 1,000, then mag-short na lang kayo. Diba? There's no point in using a long kung pwede mo naman siya gamitin sa short. That's going to result in 4 times less memory usage, diba? Kasi 8 bytes to 2 bytes yan. So yun nga, you just have to take note of that. There's a lot of options, pero for now, isipin nyo lang yun. And then of course, meron din siyang unsigned counterpart. na kung hindi mo kailangan yung negative part, edi sabihin yung unsigned. So, literal na nagdagdag lang tayo ng one word. And then, same pa rin yung size. Same yung size. Pero, nag-shift lang yung range. Same pa rin yung range, actually. Nag-shift lang siya. If you get what I mean. So, medyo useful to actually. So, kanwari kung meron tayong variable na 40,000, yung from 0 to 40,000, kung signed integer lang, hindi siya papasok sa short. So, gagawa tayo ng 4 bytes dyan. Pero, if we were to turn it into unsigned, edi kasya na siya sa short. So, we kind of saved up memory on that. So, yun nga, isipin niya na lang kung kailangan nyo, as much as possible, unsigned yung gamitin nyo. Kasi rare talaga yung case na kailangan mo yung negative. Sige, let me just backread for that. May shortcut yan, by the way, yung integers, may shortcut sa standard library. Pero I won't explain it for now kasi beyond the scope na yun. Yeah, quadrillion yung 8. Yung Q. Quadrillion siya. So, literal na hindi mo nakakailanganin yung ganun kalaki. This is 18 quadrillion. Saan nga ba yung mouse ko? Yeah, this is 18 quadrillion. I know, joke. Lowercase q is quadrillion. Uppercase q is quintillion. That's like 3 more zeros. 3 more orders of magnitude, basically. So malaki yan. Unfathomably big. You're never gonna use this. Pero you know, I just have to put it in there just in case. Baka magkaroon kayo ng ideas. Yes, quintillion. So it's like, ano ba yan? This is 1,000. Wait, try ko siya type. Para may idea kayo kung gaano kalaki yan. So 18, 4. So this is this. Wait, this is 1,000, million, trillion, tapos billion, quadrillion. Wait, tama ba yan? Sobrang laki, hindi ko na makip track yung zeros. 1,000, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion. Yun. This is it. That's how big it is. So yeah, needless to say, you're never gonna need it. So yeah, I think dyan nagtatapos yung data types. Do we have anything? Do we have any other questions for that? Long. Wala naman yatang long. Pero maybe, di ba? You'll never know. Pero as far as I know, walang long. Hanggang long lang. Meron ding long double. Or long double. Or anyway, ang daming modifiers. Pero so, ganun ka-flexible yung C++. So imagine mo 64 bits na nga yung double mo. Tapos gagawin mo siyang, ano ba yun? Long double. So 128 bits, no? Oh man. So that's like 38 zeros or something? Something like that. Basta that's big. Tapos lahat yun para lang super exact yung floating point precision mo. Alright, so here, I think yung next na natin, ano kasi ba? You know what, saktong 1 hour nga eh. Kasi yung next part, medyo live coding na yan. Technically, pwede ko na siyang i-end dito, tapos sa next part na lang yung ano. Ito mo siya i-transition. Ito yung editor ko guys, share ko lang. Ito yung hello world natin. Tapos kung gusto nyo gumawa ng variable, let's say, gagawa tayo ng, let's say number, let's call it number. Sa Python, sabihin lang natin number equals 100. Tapos okay na yan. Pero magreklamo siya, sasabihin niya, undeclared, unidentified number, something like that. Sinasabi niya lang is, hindi mo na-declare yung variable. So, nagkaka-error. So, we have to declare a type. So, the type here is, just to be safe, unsigned short. Kasi, unsigned short. There. Yeah, there. And then if you print it, of course, we can say number. Parang medyo expected na yan. You can do this if you want. And then, the way we define a function, medyo may spoiler na. ito yung function. We put the name, then the arguments here, and then ito yung return type niya. Like this. So if you want to create yung add 5, tulad nung kanina, we return an unsigned int na add 5. So parang ito yung pangalan ng function. And then we're going to add some parameters in there. And then yung parameter niya is an unsigned int na, let's call it a number. And then we put the thing here, yung curly brackets, and we say return number plus 5. And that's the same thing. Even better, lagyan niyo siya ng const kasi hindi naman siya magbabago eh. Same here, const. In general, const everything, like everything. If you don't need to modify it, i-const nyo yan. Kasi you have no idea how many bugs this finds. Kasi kunwari, nag-modify ka ng value na hindi mo in-expect. Sasabihin sa'yo yan, sabihin, number equals 10. Sasabihin niya, cannot assign variable number with const qualified type. Basically, sabi niya, you can't modify a constant thing. And if you have const everywhere, talagang, I mean, const where it's necessary, parang you're going to save yourself hours of debugging. So yeah, basically ito lang siya actually. I don't have to go deeper into this. You can look this up yourself. Pero in essence, you have to put the data types, ito yung return value, ito yung arguments, and then similarly, let's say, you know what, ito na lang, add 5. And this is how you call it, add 5. Yung references, next time ko na ituturo yun. Ay, ba't mali daw to? Add 5? What? What do you mean? No. Okay, next time ko na yan isipin. Next time ko na yan isipin. Pero for now, this is generally how you would do it. I joke. Kaya pala add 5 sinabi ko. Number. You know, C++ things talaga. Anyway, this is how you do it. Bibigyan mo siya ng types ng pangalan, and then you return it. It's like Python, really. So, dapat you should feel at home here. Yun nga lang, may extra typing ka lang na gagawin. And I believe that's the end. Magkamukha pa na editor natin. Lightline pala yung ginagamit mo. Nice. Pakita ko sa iyo, yung recent kong plugins. Kasi recently nag-migrate ako dun sa saan nga ba yun? Ayun na. Recently nag-migrate ako dito sa Telescope. Ang ganda ng Telescope, I swear. Like, you can just do this. Tapos hanapin niya na yung files na ganito. It's so cool. Like, my God. Tapos kung gusto mo ng Git integration, dun ka sa Vim Fugitive. Like, so cool. Anyway, na-excite lang ako. Pero, yun. Oh, nag-telescope pa rin. That's great. Sige. So, do we have any other questions, guys? Kasi, kung ganun, okay na yata tayo. I think. Balik ko lang sa C++. Yan. Kailan next session? Right, that's a good question. Not sure yet. Hindi ko pa siya naisip. Kasi yung next session will probably be about inputs, yung ganun. Inputs and outputs and object. Para may preview lang kayo sa object-oriented. Sige pa yung ano pangalan ng, I think it was under here. Yeah. Para may intro lang kayo dun sa object-oriented. Ito yung nire-implement ko yung interval class ko from Python in C++ basically. Latent ko lang siya. Wait, do we font? Brains mono H14 yata gamit ko. Ay, joke. 12. Ay, shoots. Ba't ganun? Chwink. Ay, H12. Whoops, my bad. Kaya pala. My bad. There we go. My bad. Okay, so ito yun. Nire-implement ko lang siya. Yung is this joint. Preview lang to, preview na to so spoilers. Preview lang yan. This is how you define the constructor. Ito yung, this is a story for another day. I'm not discussing this. Ito yung is valid, ito yung is disjoint, tapos ito yung merge, which returns a new interval. Kung mapansin nyo, ang daming const everywhere. Const everything. Which is, that's how you do it in modern C++. Everything has to be const. Unless, kailangan mo siya i-modify, then okay lang na hindi siya const. So yeah, ito yung preview, and then this is how you create an array in modern C++. This is how you do it. Pwede kong ituro yung raw array, pero for now, this is how we're going to do it. Na std array, tapos you define how many elements there are, tapos yan. Oh, hindi ko pala na-mention yung vector, no? Technically, yung vector is how you do the resizable array. Yung pwede mo siyang i-resize na smaller to bigger, yung ganun. From smaller to bigger. Tapos yung gagawin niya, kapag sumobra na siya sa capacity niya, kakopy niya yung buong array na yon, tapos i-move niya yon sa panibagong array na mas malaki. So imagine, if you're going to keep pushing elements na paulit-ulit, that's going to be very expensive kasi you're copying and moving every single time. So we'll talk about how to optimize that, pero next time na yun. Yeah, resizable arrays siya, more or less. Bakit int yung main function? Yun pala, mayroon na pala. The short answer is, requires main to be int. Yeah. Kapag, saan nga ba yung hello ko? Hello. Yeah. Kaya siya int, kasi normally may return 0 dito. Return 0 means 0 errors, di ba? Walang error. Pero kapag nag-return 1 ka, ibig sabihin yan sa Unix or sa Linux world, may error yung program. Pero it's, kaya siya integer. Pero since we don't really need to, 0 lang, success lang yan. Kung gusto nyo nga, siya 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 100, kayo bahala dyan. As the programmer, kayo yung bahala sa kung anong gusto nyong i-return. Tapos sasabihin ng program na main.exe exited with exit code 100. Tapos ikaw na bahala mag-interpret nun. Kung 100 ba ibig sabihin nun, file not found or something like that. Ay, oo nga, wag muna mag-vector since C tayo. Right. Nga, no? Siguro we can talk about C, the vector, pero only for the purpose of re-implementing it in C. Yung ganun. Just so we know how to do that in C. Pagpapalitan ng papagalitan ka ni compiler kasi char. Oh my God, wait. Malaki din yung issue dyan sa array kapag gumamit ka ng raw array. Sige, anyway. Do we have any other questions? Kasi yun na yata yung last part nito. The rest, puro preview na lang yan. Kunwari ito, preview na lang to. Ito medyo advanced feature to, yung reduce. Ayaw kasi gumamit ng manual for loop So, gumamit ako ng fancy std reduce with lambdas and whatever. But it's basically like merging the left one to the right one repeatedly. How to be me? How to be me? Huh. Is this philosophical? Kasi I don't know what Basti is. Diba? Yes, my question. Talagang hindi pa tinype yung question. No? Parang, I have question. Yes. Yes, question. Do you recommend that we don't use yung using yes. That's a personal taste. For me, I don't use it. Yan yung sinasabi kong shortcut. Ano tawag dito? Yung sinasabi ni Jelly, that's basically this. Balik lang natin to sa Hello World. Hello World. Hello World. The way we get rid of this, yung ganito, and then, kung ayaw niyo yung prefix na yan kasi redundant, sabihin niyo sa simula, using namespace std, and that's gonna fix it. The reason why I don't like this, kasi let's say we're going to ignore this entire part. Like, ganyan, we're ignoring this. And we're only looking at this part. Saan galing to? Diba? Kung wala kang editor powers, saan galing yung see out? Saan galing to? Diba? Like, nowhere in main does it tell you what see out is. Right? So the way I circumvent that is, actually the way most people circumvent that is to just get rid of this and then explicitly say it. Stood see out and then stood end line. That way, kahit wala kang context, gets mo agad na galing siya sa standard library. And this is what I recommend, to be honest, because I think this is cleaner. In fact, try ko maghanap ng C++ code base. Tapos kung may nahanap tayong using namespace, then tingnan natin. So let's look at the Rust compiler. The Rust compiler is written in C++, and saan nga ba yan? This. There we go. Kung isa-search natin, using namespace stood, tingnan natin kung meron siya. Oof! Joke lang. That's not stood. Using namespace, something else yan. So that's fine. Ayun no, lahat sila naka-stood. Like there's, even in the best practices of any C++ code base na modern, hindi nila ginagawa yung using namespace stood. Kasi this explicitly tells na galing to sa standard library. And yun ang yung main point. Imagine mo, Rust na to. This is the compiler for Rust, man. Where safety is like number one priority. Alam niyo yung YouTube na yun. So yeah, do you have any other questions for that? Mas mabilis ba kung using namespace? No, because the compiler will optimize that for us. Yes, alam mo, ang lupit ni CJ May mga gets na gets niya yung, yung mga sinasabi ko. Pero yeah, generally, yun ang yun. I think we can move on na dun sa orientation, no? Sige, I'll stop sharing my screen. And I think we're ready. Sige. Thanks, guys. Nandito pa ako, don't worry. Nandito pa ako. Kung may other question, you're welcome, guys. Kung may tanong pa kayo, at nyo na lang ako. Welcome, people. Welcome. Kailangan ko na i-close yung mga windows ko. Umiiyak na yata yung RAM. Sige. Close.